What's up, guys? It's Drac, and we're starting 2022 off with a bang. Or maybe a hit. So it's no surprise that Hasbro's been slipping. The rival line remains strong, and thanks to my friends over at Break Ice, we get to take an early look here at the Nerf rival Pathfinder. This is part of their new Accurate line, kind of saying that they're going to be doing Accu rounds, really taking a lot of hobby inspiration in the marketing for this one. After all, Accu rounds is a hyphenated hybrid word, very similar to what modders come up with all the time. And then on the back, they've actually adopted our full testing lexicon here with this like sort of, well, we shot a bunch of balls and some of them hit here and some of them hit here, and then we gave you a digital chart. How true is that going to be? How accurate is that going to be? Well, hopefully the claims are more accurate than your average elite dart, and we wind up with something that's pretty good. That said, in the spirit of fair play, rival rounds tend to be pretty true to target. There's some other marketing jargon on here, like if these hexagon dimpling patterns are truly superior to regular rival dimpling patterns, we will determine that over the course of some testing here on the channel. By the way, it's a perfect reason to subscribe and bell and do all of those things. Algorithmically, YouTube is really tough right now, and your support by, leaving kind comments, subscribing and belling and checking out the content allows us to keep getting you early sneaky peeks at stuff like, is this box collapsing? Well, it was a long journey from whence it came. And then there's one jokey joke on the package here. You've got this optimized barrel where it says streamlined design, engineered for enhanced performance. As much as I love a good Hasbro lie, as much as the next Nerfer, that's nonsense. There's no notable difference. Streamlined design, engineered for enhanced performance. It's almost just comical at that point. Now, this is an adjustable and built-in sight to the blaster, which we'll talk more about in a second. But that, if you're going to sell something that's overtly accurate, having an adjustable sight with multiple points of articulation is very helpful for the kind of people that use sights. Now, let's get it out of the package and talk about why I'm really excited for this one, the flagship of the line. So, inside the package, you get the blaster itself, one 12-round magazine, and while I don't know if they're going to be visible on camera, a bunch of the new rival rounds, which look pretty good. For a man who really thinks and truly believes that hexagons are the bestagons, taking it to a more modern, futuristic dimpling pattern is cool. Now, to imply that they're more accurate because they're dimpled this way when they still have a very visible mold release seam on them seems a little bombastic, don't you think? After all, that seam line is going to have far more to do with the aerodynamics of the projectile than anything else. Of course, I'm sure that they were very neatly trimmed for all that sweet, sweet lab testing that they did. We'll go ahead and finish loading it up, and then we'll talk about the instructions that you just don't need. But they do point out a few notable features. First off, you've got an almost translucent sight on here, which, while not illuminated, does exacerbate the ability to adjust the back sight. So you can't adjust the front, but this back sight has the ability to turn these knobs, and in doing so, you can easily adjust the position of this, although it doesn't stick in place. That's a little frustrating. You can also, should your target be further away, use the side dial to raise or lower the reticle, so to speak. None of that locks into place, which is kind of frustrating. I guess I'm a little spoiled by other hobbies where you need a coin or a screwdriver to adjust anything like that, and as such, you wind up with a pretty guaranteed locked-in sort of thing. Now, you've got a built-in stock. The stock is comically small, but honestly not bad for the overall CQB thing that you're going for. Gosh, I wish it was an in-strike attachment, but it isn't. It is molded specifically into the blaster, and as such, is not removable. And that's kind of a theme across the board. You wind up with that for both the front sights and the back sights. While they're adjustable within the context of the blaster, they're certainly not adjustable in the sense of you could take them on or off. In fact, there are no in-strike or rival rails on this blaster anywhere. Neither is there an in-strike barrel lug. You wind up with the streamlined for accuracy setup. If they've changed anything, and I mean anything at all, perhaps they've opened it up a little more to reduce barrel drag, but that was never really an issue with rival rounds in the first place. As I'm looking inside here, you can see that the effective barrel length is pretty negligible. It's the standard sort of chunk for a rival blaster, and within that, there is a hop-up tab. I guess with 12 rounds fully loaded, this magazine does not want to stay fully loaded. That said, it's got a couple of cool features, given how far it's going to stick out on this magazine system. And to do that, you load it in like this. It's nice that since it protrudes so much from the overall profile of the blaster, it has this really cool rubber stopper, which looks like it would be, it's not removable, but it's got this rubber stopper, which means that every time you whack it, that absorbs a lot of the blows. If you had many of these, you could throw them on a carabiner or hang them from your gear in some sort of form or fashion. Overall, a very nice included feature and distinctly separates this magazine from rival magazines in the past. Not that it's not incompatible, it'll work with just about anything. But as far as the blaster itself goes, you've got a switch safety, which is new. That's of course safe. Back is fire. And then that of course is not an ambidextrous safety. That is just on the one side for you right-hand users' comfort. There's a switch on the back, and all that switch does is decouple the priming mechanism so that you can clear jams. Foregrip is relatively comfy. It's a little tight to the bore. I wish it was more of an Alpha Trooper sort of setup, and I feel like that's the overall feel of the blaster, is like it feels like it wants to be Rival's Alpha Trooper, but the best thing about the Alpha Trooper was that the grip wrapped all the way around, and that was really nice, and that the stock was modular and you could put a Raider stock on it. And that was really nice. However, shouldered and ready to prime, you've got a compact CQB mag-fed Rival blaster, which honestly, every time I do this, the ball's trying to escape. But this paddle, huge. Makes it really easy to grab this one and reload it. Magwell isn't necessarily flared, but I don't think that that's a feature. It's going to be interesting to see what mods people, including Foam Pro Shop, come up with for this one, because I think this is a pretty popular entrant into the Rival category. As far as firing, I actually don't like that grip a lot. Ergonomically, there's some weird stuff going on where the magazine is so long that when you prime, you run the risk of kind of grating into it and then forward. I really wish it came back, if anything, and not forward. Sort of a funky design choice. Still, ergonomically, blaster looks sci-fi, blaster looks sharp. The grip is a little slippy, despite the fact that it has knurling on the sides. It's very smooth in its mold release everywhere else, and you certainly don't want to get behind this grip. You want to use it as almost a hand stop, simply because of how crunched it is when you prime. Now, as far as firing and slam fire goes, it doesn't. There is no, as far as that goes, it doesn't do that. So luckily we didn't jam it. We did this double feed. Blaster is pretty dry fire safe, like most modern blasters, and it's using a pretty standard Rival breech inside to pull one round off of the magazine each time. You can't double prime it normally. There is a lock. This color combination in Congress with the new rounds definitely feels like something distinctly different for 2022, which is very nice. After watching Hyper kind of hyper flop, it's good that they're going back to their roots and just designing really cool Rival blasters. After all, I think that this space is thoroughly enjoyed, appreciated, and beloved. Disappointing to see that there's really no paint on the blaster at all, including these infilled logos. The only paint is on the stock in the form of an applique over here. And other than that, I mean, it's priced correctly. It is definitely the flagship of the Accu Rival round launch. And as a flagship coming in at $32, that really keeps up with, you know, more or less inflation over the last few years and puts it pretty firmly in like pump action Springer territory, at least insofar as Hasbro is concerned. Certainly you could get a better deal buying something like an Aeon Pro in terms of strict performance, but that said, when it comes to Rival, at least in my opinion, I think that nobody does it better than the original. So let's take it outside, let's put it over a chronograph, let's give you our final thoughts. All right, so we're out here with the Pathfinder, we've got the chronograph, we've got Jinx, who I guess is kind of enjoying this cold weather. I'm definitely not loving the cold weather, but it is what it is. JJ, these bounce all over the place. Come here. Come on. Good girl. All right, so let's get some Cronie readings here real quick. These are, of course, with the Rival Accu rounds. And 91, 89, 92, 86. So high 80s, low 90s, let's call it 90, just for the sake of simplicity. Now, I'm gonna load up 3 regular, genuine, normal dimpled Rival rounds here, and we'll put those over the chronograph. Not as an accuracy thing, just to find out. We kind of suspect that these might be heavier than the regular Rival rounds, and that's what makes them more accurate. After all, that's pretty tried and true over at Hasbro, with the Accu Strike darts being heavier. And interestingly enough, there we go, 88 and 91. So in fact, this might suit our overall narrative instead, which is that we're pretty confident that they're just the same. Same level of accuracy, different sort of darts. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna put on our tactical operator hat. We're gonna go in and we're gonna really dial in our sights here, make absolutely sure that we've achieved total tactical precision, and we're gonna shoulder our blaster with our smaller shoulder stock, and we're going to fire at this box first with the accurate rounds, then we're gonna reload into regular rounds, and we're gonna see if we can hit the box. I forget if this is the jacket that ruins my audio. I think it might be the jacket that ruins my audio. I'll take the vest off. That'll make it better. Oh goodness. We always remember this too late, and it never comes up because it's just never that cold in Georgia, but it's pretty cold now. All right, so box is about 25 feet away. That seems like about where this would be firing in most CQB battles. Your buddy turns the corner at the laser tag arena, you line it up, you're accurate as heck, and well, that was a pretty good shot actually. All right, so in all honesty, everything hit the box, and once we sort of dialed it in, 2 of them would have gone in. They kind of did the burp sort of thing. That's a good sound bite. I don't know if I could do it again. We're gonna go ahead and load up some regular rounds here, just a good smorgasbord of them, and see if in fact they are more or less accurate. I will say those shots, this range, that size target, pleasantly accurate, pretty good results. Well, dang. And I would say, at least from a, you know, very unscientific, after all, we can't do the full, the dart chart just like the mothership. But in our very limited experience of 10 years of hobbyist firing blaster type shooty things, these are pretty much similar. Rival blasters remain pretty accurate, especially when compared to elite darts or anything of that sort. And this is no exception. I think that this is a fine blaster as a pump action Springer with all of the usual accoutrement going on. We can already think of kind of how we want to do the mod guide for it, and that will be coming soon. I think that this is going to be the biggest pain point for me, is that I would like a Meteor or at least a modular sort of stock option for this. But in terms of its overall look, profile, everything else about it, I really, really do dig this one. I think that the Pathfinder is a worthy addition at a much lower price point. Like, is it as good, quote unquote, as something like the Hades with 60 rounds of onboard capacity? No, but it's half the price. It has quick swappable magazines. You can't buy a Hades, to my knowledge, off the shelf just anywhere now. And it's kind of tight. It's sort of compact. I mean, it really feels like they were going for the Alpha Trooper of the rival line, which with claw primes and all sorts of nonsense in the past, I don't think that they've ever truly achieved. The Artemis was maybe pretty close, but that's on board. There's no rapid reload option for it. And I like that. I like everything about it. I like that Rival is back. I know that Hasbro is, I believe, pulling out of New York Toy Fair, so I think that we'll be getting a lot of updates from them that would have happened at Toy Fair through other vehicles and means over the coming few weeks. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll see what happens. There's, of course, always the chance that they change their minds. Who knows? Thank you guys so very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you like the other Pathfinder over on Apex Legends, I'll be live streaming tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I would love it if you came and hung out. We can talk about this. We can talk about the other 2 unreleased blasters from this line, which I'll have, you know, they'll be available on stream. But I think that that's it for this review. Mod guide coming soon. Comment down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, bell, all the algorithm nonsense. Much love. Blast on Drac out.